Today I wanted to do a educational video breakdown going over the XRP setup from today, taking a look at the dark pool software that we provide for you all in the group. Our focus always can't just be on futures because people in this community also day trade other assets as well. So I like to try to mix it up and I favor XRP as a day trading pair. So we're going to go over that in detail today. I'm going to show you all how you could have utilized the information and the strategy in this Discord and in this trading group that we provide to catch the moves on XRP today, step by step, starting from the higher time frame. Obviously, of course, with the fundamental backdrop and the analysis and the dark pools that we've been giving you all for some time now. So starting off, of course, for anybody that is a monthly access, remember you guys have access to the dark pools and the deltas inside the XRP analysis section. So, of course, always starting there. And then from top down, every single day, at least for me, I can't tell you guys what to do, but I always gather fundamental data and an analysis from the fundamental backdrop, whether the market sentiment for that trading session is predominantly leaning risk off or risk on. And so we know that today we had headline PC inflation rising to 4.1%, the highest reading since April, reinforcing concerns that inflation remains stubbornly elevated. We had core PC increased to 3.4%. We know that persistent inflation reduces the likelihood of the Federal Reserve rate cuts. And now the markets are increasingly pricing in the probability of another rate hike if inflation continues to remain elevated. Higher interest rate expectations strengthen the US dollar and treasury yields and make risk assets like cryptocurrencies and growth stocks less attractive. We also saw the unemployment claims and the GDP show a resilient US economy, which just feeds into the stronger economic backdrop for the United States, supporting the dollar and making risk assets less attractive. So that was the fundamental driver for today's risk off mood. With that being said, starting off today's lesson on the hourly time frame and working our way down, we're first going to start by analyzing what order flow we can see prior to the start of the New York session. Now we know that the New York session starts at 8:30 a.m. Central Time or 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And so on XRP's price action today, this is what we had to analyze prior to the session. So, what can we see? We can see number one, that price is trading below a dark pool. You can see that price had sold off from roughly about $1.11 all the way down below the $1.07 dark pool to about $1.04. Number two, we can see that price from yesterday's Asia session to today has taken highs and made new structure lows. And I'll go back to the picture in just a second. And then we can also see today's Asia session and London session volume failed to take out previous bearish volume that created the most recent bearish structure. Therefore, we must assume until buyers break back above previous bearish structure and break bullish back above previous dark pools that acted as a resistance, we are still in bearish territory. So breaking that all down for you all, you can see from Asia session open yesterday, which we know starts the new daily candlestick here in this area. Price took highs over to the left-hand side and made new structure lows beneath dark pools. Coming into the new day's worth of price action, you can see that this buy volume during Asia session and this volume during London session did not have enough momentum for buyers to break back above previous dark pools that once acted as a resistance here at the $1.11, nor did it come back above previous daily highs from yesterday's Asia session. So that means coming into today's New York session, we could clearly determine that the order flow was in favor of sellers until we broke back above previous bearish legs and back above previous dark pools that act as resistance. So in the next screenshot, it says, now sellers are still in control until buyers show aggression above the most recent bearish leg, which is from A, or this yellow circle, where we had taken highs from yesterday's daily high and made new lows beneath two different dark pools, the $1.11 and the $1.07. And I said here in this note, until we see a break above this high and turn $1.11 back into support, we are still operating in this bearish leg. And again, this is all the price action that we had to analyze prior to the New York session open at 8:30. So even though now this is hindsight, in real time this morning, coming into the market to analyze price prior to the session open at 8:30, we would have had all this price action to analyze. We can also see that price is trading below a dark pool at the $1.11, which was broken. And then we started to see passive sellers defend this area or turn this dark pool into resistance area. So that is all the data that we had coming up into this New York session. And again, we are on the hourly time frame right now. As we continue, we're going to drop down to the lower time frames all the way down to 1 minute execution. So inside this bearish leg, we can see trapped buyers or sell walls. We can see today's London session had passive sellers defending from areas where they previously sold from during the London session before. So here during this London session, you can see up candles that then led to new structure lows or trapped buyers. This is what a trapped buyer looks like on TradingView. And then today, during that London session, you can also see that buyers tried to make a formal attempt to engulf the sell volume from the previous London session, but failed. And when we came up into this aggressive seller that broke previous support during London session from yesterday, you can see that that seller turned passive, defended that area, and pushed price back down into the dark pool at $1.07. So I said we can see today's London session, passive sellers defended from areas where they sold from the day before. Making that a little bit more clear for you all, I said highlighting the last up candle before the down move that led to the break in structure, we can see the passive seller during London today stopping buyers and pushing price back into the dark pool. This is supposed to say $1.07. I'll fix that here in just a second. Now, what do we notice about this price action? So here you can see that aggressive seller that broke previous support during that London session from yesterday. Then when today's London session buyers came in, right at the beginning of the session, that passive seller defended that previous aggression and pushed price straight back down into the dark pool. But before I read this little tiny note, what do we notice about this new leg here from this London session high down into this new session low? What happens?
The sellers engulf all that buy volume.
Good job, Rick, right? Very simple. We create a new structure low. So I said here, what do we notice about this PA? It makes the same pattern as the day before. Internal highs are taken, and new bearish structure is made right before the New York session open. So here you can see this is going to be the new daily low up until this point. During this London session, we take a high and we make new structure lows or a break of structure. Previous support was broken and price traded again beneath the dark pool. This is now our new bearish leg on the hourly. And again, that's this bearish leg here from A down to B. Why? Because we are trading under previous daily highs. Number one, remember from yesterday's Asia high, we are trading underneath of that area of interest here. Number two, because we have seen sellers passively defend an area of interest where they were previously aggressive. Number three, we have seen previous bullish structure broken. So the buyers from Asia have now been engulfed during London session. And we have also seen a dark pool broken to the downside. So now coming into the New York session, logically speaking, up until this point, this is now our new bearish leg. We are trading underneath of a previous daily high. We are trading underneath of a previous area at a dark pool that acted as a resistance and led to new structure formations to the downside. We know that Asia session buy volume did not have enough momentum to take out previous daily highs. We know that during London session, there was a passive seller defending where they sold from at London session before. And now we have seen a new A to B move or a new structure leg to the downside, i.e. a new daily high and a new daily low. So now coming into the New York Open, we can drop down to the 15-minute time frame with the knowledge that we are in a new bearish leg on the hourly. Keep in mind now that we drop down to the 15-minute time frame from the hourly down, this is going to be the new area of interest that we're operating in from this A down to B move. So that way you guys are tracking where we're at in price action. So looking at this screenshot, now that New York session is about to open, we can jump down to the 15-minute and start paying attention to the structure in this new hourly bearish leg. And what can we see? Right? So here is now our new structure on the 15-minute, but we know that from A, or this yellow circle, down to B is the new hourly bearish leg. So if we are going to be buyers coming into this New York session, considering that right now everything is pointing towards before New York session that sellers are still in control, can someone tell me what's something that we would have ideally liked to see before we bought or scalped XRP for buy positions today? Someone give me something, one thing.
A retest on the dark pool?
Sure. I'm looking for a little bit more clarity than that.
Break above the high from New York.
Number one,
from
right?
London. From
Yeah,
London.
right? We would have wanted to see bullish price action above the most recent local high and preferably above yesterday's high, right? Considering that from yesterday's high to the low, we are trading in that bearish environment. So if we zoom out and go back to previous pictures, we would ideally, before we switched our bearish bias on XRP to a bullish bias, like to see XRP trade first above this new daily high, which would be the first indication that buyers are making some formal attempt to push higher. But then we would still be trading in a risk premium coming up into this Asia session high because the sellers that passively defended this dark pool before could defend again. So ideally, before we reversed our bearish bias to a bullish bias today on XRP, we would have liked to see this high and this high taken out and bullish order flow above them. That would have also coexisted with what DeFi Crusader just said, which is bullish order flow above a dark pool. And up until this point, I haven't seen XRP's price action as of time of recording this video, but that has not happened. Right? And it didn't happen prior to the New York session. So now that New York session is about to open, we can jump down to the 15-minute and start paying attention to structure in this new hourly bearish leg. And what can we see? So here's the price action now on the 15-minute time frame. And if you guys remember from yesterday's Asia session high, what structure are we creating? We are taking highs. You can see this wick here is taken out, and instantly after highs are taken, new lows are made. Now the same thing coming into this day's worth of price action is happening again. Wick highs are taken or internal liquidity, and then new lows are made. So now on the 15-minute, what do we see? We see the same exact price action. We see highs being taken and new lows being made, which led to this new bearish price action from London session high or the new daily high down into the most recent daily low. So now these are going to be our new premium areas to trade from. And what do we notice about this bullish candle here is that this candle comes in at exactly this little tiny bullish candle right here comes in at exactly when the core PCE came in at 7:30 a.m. This is the 7:30 a.m. candle from core PCE. And we know that core PCE was expected to come out higher. So using our logic, if London session sold from all the way up here, what were London session institutions most likely anticipating? They were pricing in higher inflation, which is why there was still sell pressure during London session. And then right when that core PCE came out, what were sellers from London session right before the New York session doing? They were taking profit. And that's why we saw that buy volume come in on XRP at 7:30 a.m. when the core PCE came out. So I said here, we know core PCE was expected to come out high. So what is this most likely? It's London session traders taking profit. Notice how the buy volume does not engulf any previous bearish structure, nor does it take out the high, nor the $11 dark pool, nor the Asia session high from yesterday's session. We're still operating on the 15-minute time frame. So now that price has created a new premium, we can take our fib from the last high down to the new low. Doing so, prior to the session open during New York, we notice that this 7:30 a.m. candle pushes price straight into a 66% premium from where London session had sold from. So I said, what do we notice? Price comes straight into a 66% premium right before New York session is about to start, keeping in mind that the inflation data came out bad for risk assets, keeping Fed rate hikes on the table. So instantly, knowing on the higher time frame, we're bearish. From yesterday's daily high to low, we're in a bearish leg. We see a little tiny pump right before New York session opens, but London session was bearish, and the core PCE at 7:30 that caused the bullish candlestick was not good or positive news for risk assets. All these things should be red flags to say, I'm not going to try to buy. I'm going to continue to trade with the momentum and the current order flow, which is sells. Couple that with the fundamentals that back price action today, weighing on risk sentiment. So I said, now that we know that we are at a 66% premium on the 15-minute, we can jump down to the 1 minute and we can start to look for the same patterns that we saw on the hourly, which were highs being taken and new lows being made. On the 15-minute, we saw highs being taken and new lows being made. We want to see that same price action on the 1 minute to look for entry. So from the 15-minute, now that we know that we are operating in this 66% premium from this last A down to B move, we can jump down now to the 1 minute and start to monitor price action in this 66% premium area. So I said here, now we've jumped down to the 1 minute time frame. Now that we know we are at a 66% premium on the 15-minute, we can jump down to the 1 minute and look for the same pattern. Highs being taken and new lows being made for a premium entry. Now, for me personally, New York session starts all the way over here at 8:30 a.m. I personally do not trade until after the open. So for me, up until this circle, which is where the 8:30 a.m. candlestick is going to open at, that's a no trade zone for me. However, for you all, maybe you like to trade before the New York session open. Maybe it's not in your rules not to trade before the session. Nonetheless, there were opportunities before and after the session open, which I'm going to show you all. But for those of you all who do trade before the session open, let's pay attention to price action. Again, mind you, we're on the 1 minute time frame, and we're looking for highs being taken and new lows being made. Considering now that we are in an hourly bearish leg, 15-minute price action is showing us that bears are still in control And now we've topped up into a premium on the 15-minute structure. We're now down at the 1-minute time frame, and we're looking for the same thing. Highs to be taken and new lows to be made. So here you can see that pattern. Mind you, again, this price action is in that 66% premium on the 15-minute time frame. And that's the only reason why this matters. So here you can see internal highs being taken. And as soon as those highs get taken, new lows get made. So now that we have seen new bearish structure from A down into B, this is going to be your new fib range on the 1 minute. We have now created bearish order flow on the hourly, bearish order flow on the 15-minute, and now that we are in a 15-minute premium, we are also still seeing bearish order flow now at a 66% premium. Here you can see a high down to a new structure low. This is where you're going to take your fib from A down to B, or annotate your 1, your 2, and wait for your premium retracement to get your 3 to look for entries. This is now going to be your new sell wall that you don't want to see broken. If this sell wall starts to break and price starts to trade bullish above it, turning into support, that is going to ixnay this trade. And you're going to wait for price action to give you other confirmation for other trade ideas. So I said here, for the first trade, I would have placed a sell stop beneath the bullish candlestick. Once that sell stop beneath the bullish candlestick was activated, my stop loss for a tight stop would go above the previous high where I fibbed from. A safe stop loss would go above the wick high from the 7:30 a.m. core PCE candlestick. The targets for this trade, of course, if price is still bearish, are going to be the most immediate bullish structure. So target number 1 is going to be where London session traders took profit from at 7:30 when that buy volume came in during the core PCE event. So as I mentioned, we do not want to see the price trade above the sell wall from the A to B move that created the structure high down into the new structure low. You can see that the trade still was not executed here. Price came back up into the sell wall, and then we come into the New York session open. Right at the New York session open, price wicks up into the sell wall. There was clear as day a passive seller sitting here, trapping buyers at this sell wall. They then became aggressive. There was the entry right at the 8:30 a.m. Now that you're in the trade, all that's left for you to do is passively monitor this position, making sure that if buyers come back in control, you either take yourself out, move your stops into break even once this trade goes in your favor, start to take some partials on the way down, so on and so forth. However it is that you guys manage your trades, now you're in the trade. Remember that profit doesn't count until you pay yourself. So however you plan on doing so, whether you hold the trade all the way down to your take profit or you monitor the position along the way, that's all entirely up to you guys and your own personal approach. For me, I hold my trade until my first take profit or until a new structure formation is broken or until my stop loss for the first position is taken out. So for me, I would have held this trade until the first take profit. Take profit 1 was executed. And now you can see full force that overall from start to finish, XRP's price action today from higher time frame all the way down to the 1 minute time frame printed bearish order flow. Now, something I want to highlight is that I personally do not trade prior to 8:30, and I don't trade at the session open at 8:30 either. So to be completely honest with you, this would have not been a trade that I would have taken at the session open or prior to the session because it is in my rules to not trade in that time horizon. So with that being said, how could we have used the dark pools today to catch the continuation move after the session open, which is where I do start to participate in the market? And here, this is where you can see how powerful the dark pools are. Knowing all the information up to this point, now once price came into the $0.07 dark pool, The same pattern that I just went over, and I want you guys to tell it to me. What can we see here on the 1 minute time frame right at the dark pool? So let's get rid of all these drawings. And I'm showing you guys this because I personally don't trade before the 8:30 a.m. Or 8:30 a.m. open, and I don't trade until at least 5 minutes after the session open, which would have been here. So what do we see? What pattern did we just discuss that we saw on the hourly, on the 15, and on the 1 minute that we see in this area right around the dark pool?
Highs
Think
being
of a
taken.
low.
Highs being taken, right? So here's a high being taken. And then instantly after this wick high is taken, what do we see?
Think
New
of a
lows.
low, yeah.
A new low was made. So instantly after this new low was made, this now becomes your new range from A down to B. So there's your new fib range from the high down to the low. Price came up into the 50% premium, rejected the 107 dark pool. I would have trailed this bullish price action or this bullish candlestick with a sell stop. So if you missed out on the initial entry at 8:30, there was the second entry. Sell stop underneath of the bullish candle, stop loss above the high, and take profit zooming out. Could have been Asia session lows or New York session lows. So we'll go ahead, we'll extend this target number 2 out. That's going to be our take profit for this trade, for the second entry. And let's see how it plays out. Price absolutely crushed it today. All right. Take profit 2 hit. So this just goes to show that even if you don't enter at the session open or prior to the session open, that there's still opportunities that exist if you're patient and you wait and you understand the order flow of the market. So anybody that was buying XRP today was buying against what the market makers were doing. The market makers were clear as day offloading their positions. They were trapping buyers at highs, making new structure lows, and then becoming aggressive enough to engulf previous buy volume and take price lower. All right. So that was XRP's price action in a nutshell today. We're still trading underneath of the dark pools at $1.07. Let's get rid of all this jargon real fast and wrap this up and just take a look real quick. All right. So in my personal opinion, now that we have seen $1.07 taken out, I firmly believe that we're only going to see this accelerate over the next, let's say, 24 to 72 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if coming into next week, we see an XRP trade below $1. This is where our current XRP price is trading at now at about $1.04. You can see that sellers are clearly in control. If we cannot see buyers make some formal attempt to start to hold price and push it back above $1.07 and $1.11, then be prepared for a nice liquidity grab and drop down into 91 cents. Remember that we have bearish targets all the way down as low as about 68 cents on XRP. And we have been talking and discussing about this for some time now. This is our updated analysis from the beginning of this week, June 21st, where we had reminded everybody if we see a break below and a sustainable hold underneath of $1.11 to $1.07, then the next likely bearish targets was 91 cents for some good dollar cost average positions or where we could start to see buyers possibly defend from. Be prepared for this just in case it does unfold. But outside of that, super accurate analysis today on XRP. Dark pools and deltas coming into fruition. They were met both on NASDAQ and XRP and pretty much any other trading pair in this community that we participate in. But again, make sure that you guys are taking time, run through these drills yourself, go back, type out price action, look at how price reacted on certain asset classes and pairs that you gravitate towards using dark pools and delta information. And these same drills that I'm giving you guys in terms of these PDFs, go through and type things out like this yourselves just to start to create repetition for you in breaking down price action. It does help, and it's very efficient and will benefit you guys and gals long term. All right. I'll leave the floor open for any questions if you have anything. I just need to make a small correction on this document, and then I'll drop it in the chat for you guys and gals. And then outside of that, that's all that I have. I just wanted to do a real quick breakdown on XRP's price action today for you all.
Nice breakdown, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that, family. Appreciate that big time.
For sure.
Did you drop the Canva breakdown on your Nas trades?
No, not today. Today I focused on XRP, but tomorrow, Friday, I'll probably create a PDF before we head into the weekend on NASDAQ.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No problem. Alrighty, guys and gals, you guys take it easy, and I don't know if I'm gonna have a Zoom call tomorrow, but if I don't, I'll see you guys next week.
All right, brother. Love you. Appreciate you.
No problem. Love and light. I'll see you guys.
Thank you for your time.